Hi everybody, it's Doug again, and I'm here to show you my keys to the image. This is one of my favorite images from my Creative Live class this past October of 2012. I just absolutely love the image, and the reason why is it's a very simply accomplished image. Now, one of the biggest challenges, of course, is the fact that you're dealing with an interracial couple. Now, you may say, why is that a challenge? Because if you've ever noticed when photographing people of color, they tend to be overexposed, and the reason why is because the camera, when metering, or when you're metering, you're looking at it and seeing the situation as much darker than it really is. So now in this case with an interracial couple, it's very simple because you have to make a decision. Who am I going to expose for? And the answer, quite simply, is always the Caucasian person. Because remember, when photographing a Caucasian person, the Caucasian person is basically very, very neutral in terms of setting your exposure and your white balance. With a person of color, you're going to have to make exposure compensation adjustments because when the camera says, oh my goodness, dark skin, it's going to generally overexpose. So if I was photographing her alone, I would probably exposure compensate and tell the camera to underexpose by roughly 2/3 of a stop. But in this case, since I have a Caucasian subject with her, I don't need to do that. So let's talk about the lighting. Obviously, this is later in the evening. If you saw the Creative Live appearance, there's a whole great nighttime shoot there. It was a great investment. You can go to creativelive.com to see the whole 3-day class, and for the price, you can't beat it. Now, let's take a look at how I really created this. I'm using 2 of my torch lights. All right, with my torch lights, the key to this was I had to make a decision of how I wanted to balance. Even though it was darker and nighttime, what I'm realizing with the lighting is that I need a little bit stronger of a kicker light on them. So the lights are really right on top of them. What I've created is 2 profile lights. Both subjects are in profile to me. So what I have is one of the torch lights is coming around from behind here. It's about 45 degrees behind him, and it's aiming towards our subject, and that's why you see this beautiful wraparound light. This is a profile light. Now mind you, I probably should have had her face turned just a touch more to the left because I don't want to see that eye. Now I have another light back behind her which is going directly into him and also creating the profile light. Now you notice it's basically lighting 2/3 of a face. It would clear his face. It would be clearly lighting the backside, the front of the face, and then allowing this to go in shadow. Now the shadow here is what I would consider more of my short side, which is obviously what I want closer to the camera. And the reason I want it closer to the camera, it's going to thin out. Now one of the things that you have to realize is by setting up these double lights, I want you to look at what's really key and important is besides getting profile lights, you're getting a kicker light on both the back side because you have one here aiming at the opposite subject. Now again, I did my exposure off of his face. I was shooting here at 4.5 and I had a higher ISO. I was about 1250 and my aperture was about 4.5. So what I'm doing here is slowing down my shutter speed. I was at 1/8 of a second. And from creating all of this, I'm just getting a beautiful soft glow from the background. By slowing down my shutter speed, it allows the background to burn in. I'm with an 85mm. I obviously have a camera height below or even to waist level, shooting up to the sky. The camera is tilted 45 degrees towards the guy, and what's allowing to happen is it's making him more dominant, strong, but it's also allowing me to get the Space Needle in. It's a great image. They loved it, I love it, and the separation on it is simple. This whole image took me just a couple of seconds to take. The idea is knowing what you want to accomplish and doing it beforehand. The only actions I ran on here were daily multivitamin, Kubota Action. I ran HD AUG Kubota Action, and I also ran an icing. With the icing, I brought it down from its default of 50% to about 22%. Overall, I absolutely love the image. He's in a basic masculine pose. She's in a feminine pose with her hip kicked back, her front leg crossing over, and overall, you got a great nighttime image. If you can photograph subjects outdoors at night in the darkness and you can have it shadow free and not harsh, your subjects are going to love you because it's different, it's unique, it shows a lot of personality, and of course a beautiful separation from the background. Once again, I'm Doug Gordon. These are my keys to the image. I hope you enjoyed. If you're interested in learning more about me, you can go to www.DougGordonWorkshops.com. Of course, I can be found on Facebook at Doug Gordon Workshops, on Twitter at hashtag DougGordonPhoto, and of course, whenever you need us, come and find us. We're happy to see you on YouTube and hopefully at an event real soon. Thanks again, everybody.